Americans are crowding public places and officials fear possibility of spikes in coronavirus cases. At a glance, it may look like many Americans have long forgotten about the dangers of coronavirus. Crowds packed beaches in Florida, Maryland, Georgia, Virginia, and Indiana over the weekend, many venturing out without masks and others failing to keep their distance even as officials have tirelessly highlighted the importance of both in order to prevent another surge of cases. In Missouri, hundreds attended a pool party just days after a similar party in neighboring Arkansas caused a cluster of new coronavirus cases. Arkansas's governor said the state is now experiencing a second peak. "You tell me how people act today, I will tell you the infection rate 3 days from now," New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said Sunday, emphasizing the importance residents' actions play in the spread of infections. But as health officials warn the deadly virus isn't yet contained, local leaders across the country are working to enforce regulations put in place for stores, bars and restaurants that have reopened. The commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Sunday urged Americans observing Memorial Day weekend to follow federal guidelines aimed at curbing the spread of coronavirus. With the country starting to open up this holiday weekend, I again remind everyone that the coronavirus is not yet contained. It is up to every individual to protect themselves and their community. Social distancing, hand washing and wearing masks protect us all, Dr. Stephen Hahn wrote in a tweet. In Houston, the mayor said authorities will begin enforcing capacity limits for bars and restaurants after the city received hundreds of complaints alleging violations. "The reality is that there are too many people who are coming together," Mayor Sylvester Turner said. "No social distancing, no mask. And then after this Memorial Day weekend is over they're going to be on somebody's job or in close proximity to somebody else." So far, infections in the country top 1,643,000 and deaths inch closer to 100,000. Track the virus spike of cases in Washington, D.C. as Americans push to return to normal lifestyles and the country continues lifting coronavirus restrictions. Experts say many parts of the country are still not heading in the right direction. North Carolina recorded its highest single-day surge of new cases over the weekend in parts of Maryland, Virginia, Illinois and other states are still seeing a high number of infections, Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House Coronavirus Task Force coordinator. In Washington, D.C., health officials are reporting a spike of new cases, an increase that could be a setback for the criteria officials are using to decide when the city will begin its first stage of reopening. Until this weekend, Washington recorded 11 days of declining community spread of the coronavirus. The city said 14 days of decline were needed before they moved to reopen. Sunday would have been the 13th day of decline, but instead there was a small spike over the last 2 days. But because the spike was a small one, health officials say they'll consider setting back to the 11th day of the decline instead of starting the count from the beginning. "We don't have to go to day zero," Director of the D.C. Department of Health, Dr. LaQuendra Nesbitt, said in a news conference call. There are 2 other factors officials will consider before reopening: a positivity rate of less than 20% and a hospital capacity of less than 80%. As of Sunday, the city's positivity rate is 19% and hospital capacity is at 74%. A 17-year-old dies in Georgia, one of the first states to begin reopening, officials reported Sunday, the state's youngest coronavirus death. The victim was a 17-year-old boy, according to data from the Georgia Department of Public Health. The boy had underlying medical conditions. The department didn't offer any further details. The boy's death is a grim reminder that, while officials have cautioned elderly populations are at a higher risk for complications related to an infection, younger people fall victim to the virus as well. That includes the 5-year-old daughter of 2 Detroit first responders who died last month after being diagnosed with the virus. It also includes the 5-month-old daughter of a New York firefighter who died late April after spending a month in the hospital receiving treatment for the virus. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say that, while many young people who got coronavirus did not have serious problems, health experts are investigating a virus-related complication in children across the country, dubbed multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children. Doctors said last week children who may have the syndrome need immediate attention and will probably need to be hospitalized. Symptoms may mostly include stomach pain and vomiting, along with fever and perhaps a rash, experts say. White House rolls out travel restrictions as U.S. officials try to get a handle on the spread of the virus. President Donald Trump announced Sunday he was suspending travel into the U.S. for people who had been to Brazil within the past 2 weeks. I have determined that it is in the interests of the United States to take action to restrict and suspend the entry into the United States, as immigrants or non-immigrants, of all aliens who were physically present within the Federative Republic of Brazil during the 14-day period preceding their entry or attempted entry into the United States, the president's proclamation reads. Brazil now is second to the U.S. with the highest number of coronavirus cases, recording more than 363,200 infections, according to Johns Hopkins. Over the weekend, the country recorded more than 15,000 new infections in just 24 hours. CNN's Holly Silverman, Nikki Robertson, Claudia Dominguez and Mija Ellinger contributed to this report. Click subscribe to receive the latest news.